Assalamu alaikum and welcome. This is the only way up, and today's topic is one of the horrific trial in France of a lady who was drugged and raped multiple times by her husband and his associates. The case is Mrs. Pellicott, currently in trial, judgment to come through, but it's opened up a wider discussion of men, women, feminism, masculinity in France. What do you think to all this?
Yeah, just Sangam Shani. Yeah, I mean, quite a brutal story in the end, but I think we got to look at the broader context here. The lady obviously was a victim here. She's obviously been abused, and that's why she's in court at the moment. But I think the broader picture is, for a while now, we've been told that the problem is foreigners, the problem is migrants. They come to Europe, their culture tells them to look down upon women, that women are only good for one thing. In some parts of Europe, we're told that this foreign culture even looks down upon white women. And the result of all of this is you have grooming gangs, you have sexual assault, you have all these deviances. However, because there were no Muslims involved, because there were no migrants involved, really the story is being presented as some one-off bad apple. And its shocking nature is what's getting all the attention. However, there's some serious problems in France. This is a country that brought liberal values to Europe. This is the most depressed country in the world, imposed to do with depression. This country comes top. This country has for long been pointing fingers at foreigners and immigrants that they're the problem, when actually there's some serious, deeper problems in the society. The French have destroyed the concept of family. They have promoted the issue of individuality. And this is leading to demographic decline. This is leading to people looking down upon the other gender. And this is leading to all sorts of sexual deviancy and practices. And what I find very interesting is there's no civilizational discussion here. But the moment an Afghan comes over and looks at a woman or does something, his whole culture, his people, the people it's indirectly even linked to, is all brought into question. And there is a serious problem in France. There's been a problem for a long time in France about their role in Europe, about French society, about the French identity. And what's really happening is the French as a culture are rotting from the inside. And to deflect, they're pointing fingers at others. And really, the chicken have come home to roost. Now, if this was the only example, then you would argue, okay, maybe this is a one-off, one bad apple. But what you find is, across Europe, across the West, actually, you're looking at institutes, whether it's the church, whether it's the police, or anyone in authority, they've been abusing their positions. Jimmy Savile, you look at royalty, a lot of them have been caught up in paedophile gangs. So there's a massive problem here. And this lady, unfortunately, is the most recent victim of this. So what this really shows you, Shani, is interestingly, there's no talk about immigration here. There's no talk about the values of these people. And the people involved, Shani, you're talking about lawyers, there were doctors, there were professionals. These were normal people who, everyday people that you might meet on your way to work or may even meet in your office. This is what was going on here. So I think really the French need to take a long, hard look at themselves, because they spend a long time blaming everyone else for their problems. And really the chickens have come home to roost now.
Yeah, I think this whole issue, when you take it out of this case and look at society in general, all the issues that you mentioned, it's always been okay. The man has been able to express his liberalism sexually and erotically, and this is a case of that, and that's harmful. And actually, women need protection from that, and women need to be able to do their own sexual freedoms or whatever you want. And whichever way you spin it, whichever way you slice it or dice it, whichever way you look at it, the values that have taken away family, they've destroyed the family. They've destroyed the home. The husband, who's the protector of the wife that's the protector of the husband, they are, he's exploiting them. Your most safest place is your home. When your home is sound, you feel sound. Like you said, majority of people in the in France are depressed. Why? If the home isn't sound, what do you expect? If you think I can see this, we're gonna end up in divorce. I can see this, we're gonna end up separating. I can see this, that he's playing away. I can see this, that she isn't around. She's doing her own thing. Then you're gonna get very, very depressed people. And what does a sexualized society do? Does it make the home, or does it lead to breaking the home? Does it foster a closer, safer home, or does it make the same home more vulnerable to breaking up and shattering? So I think that this whole discussion is put in the context of masculinity, feminism. The man did this. He can think he can do what he want, and the woman needs protection. Rather, actually, where's the safe home gone? That place where you go find comfort in each other, where you discuss your issues, where you share your problems, where you think about your future, where you discuss your memories, where all the happiness in the world is born and raised is gone. Why? Because of liberal values. That discussion isn't being happening, rather than this false discussion of he's this and she's this and he should be doing this. And actually, let's take a step back and look how sexual revolution, the sexual freedom, the liberation of sexuality has destroyed the sanctity, the safety, the comfort of the home.
Yeah, absolutely, Shani. I think this really shows you the social problems France has. You know, they've destroyed the family. They don't believe in groups. They don't believe in the family. It's all about the individual. And when you believe in individuals, inevitably the extension of that is I will do whatever pleases me. I will do whatever I want, irrespective of the consequences and the impact on broader society. And that's why it's no wonder people have unrealistic expectations. And when these are not met, you see them turn to substance abuse and these sort of things. And this is a problem across the Western world. It's not unique to France. France really is just the most recent example of this. So really, it's interesting because they like to blame immigrants for everything. They are deeper issues in their society, and that's why it's no wonder people are turning to populist leaders because mainstream politicians can't solve these problems. They keep deflecting by blaming it on the EU, by blaming it on migrants, and people are seeing their problems get worse and worse without any answers from politicians. And that's why if you're an outsider and you actually say what the people want to hear, you will get to power. That's why a guy like Donald Trump, reality TV star, that's why Zelensky, an actual drama star, that's why people like Boris Johnson, who have a history of just lying, all in Hungary, in Brazil, all these places you're finding, even Macron actually, he'd only been in power for 3 years in parliament before he became the leader. If you're an outsider and you say what the people believe, you will get into power. That's how desperate the people are. Just the hope that if we get someone non-mainstream, he might just solve our problems for us. And that's where they are at the moment.
Yeah. The other aspect I think is quite interesting is when you look at it, like you mentioned, a huge depression, the liberal values are really breaking families. It's causing a lot of mental health issues, a lot of frustration. What do people turn to? What can they go back to that's their saving grace? That they can see, if I get this, my life's going to turn around. And you can see a bit in America, they do have a bit of a biblical Christian culture, family values, and America does have that side to it, especially in the Bible Belt and the southern states. But what does France have? Where does Europe have? Though it is seen as a Christian continent, it's very different to America in the sense that it's not living. It's almost seen as it's let go. It's only amongst the few elderly. It's only in certain countries, and definitely not in France. So where do they go from this? And I think this is where they are at tipping point. The people need to ask themselves, where are we going? And when they look over the shoulder or look at the history, they haven't got much because they've totally buried Christianity. They've really secularized it. And like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al Jummah, this Quran is to a unlettered messenger. The Prophet ﷺ was not educated. He wasn't a degree holder. He wasn't a PhD holder. He didn't have a master's degree. I.e., this is for everyone. Wherever you are, wherever your background, this is you can come enjoy the fruits of Islam, the fruits of family values, the fruits of husband values, the fruits of wife values, the fruits of a long marriage values. And I think when you look at it, the people in France, when you look at these cases, they have only the natural conclusion for them will be to look towards Islam. Whether they get that opportunity, inshallah, they will. But where else can they get their values or anything that's going to give them some sort of peace and comfort in their hearts? So let's see what happens in France going forward. Assalamu alaikum, jazakallah khair for your thoughts. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And remember to like, subscribe, and share.